Welcome to the ILLF Show, episode 5. It's been a while since we've done an ILLF show, but we're back. Let's start with sports. NBA Finals is in full swing. Game 5 is tonight in Boston. Boston's last game, they lost 84 to 122 to Dallas. Boston leads the series 3-1. It's been a crazy ride for the NBA Finals because everybody thought Boston was going to sweep Dallas. But then Dallas was like, I don't think so. Gives a nice little narrative, though. That could mean that Boston could win tonight at home in Boston. So all the Celtic fans would definitely be stoked to win at home to win the national championship. Now, I'm not a huge basketball fan, but I know Boston and Dallas are two very hard-fighting teams, and on paper, Boston for days. Dallas has been really good this season. The last couple of seasons, they've been really good. But Boston is due to win it. I think they're going to do it tonight. I really do. But then again, I'm not a basketball guy. I'm a hockey guy. The Stanley Cup Finals are also in full swing. And Edmonton, you would think, would be the main team. Talking about a team on paper, the Edmonton Oilers have only won one game. Florida Panthers are in lead of the series 3-1. They have an opportunity to win tomorrow night in home in Florida with another narrative. I mean, the last game that was played in the Stanley Cup Finals, the final score was 8-1, where game 1, game 2, game 3, Florida dominated. Edmonton got 1 or 2 goals, tops in the entire series. And all of a sudden in Edmonton, they went beast mode. So, it's so crazy to hear how both these finals are in game 4. Both teams that could possibly win the next game are at home. And it makes for a sweet series. It makes you think, man, now is a good time to be a sports fan. How much of it do you think is rigged? That's another sports topic for another day. I'll talk about that on my fun podcast, Vo's Hockey Show. You should check it out at some point. I'm going to talk about that this week, about it being rigged, the whole nonsense with that. Anyway, Brian Belansky is one of my favorite artists, especially my favorite singer-songwriter artist. I gotta tell you, you guys, if you haven't checked out any of the interviews that I've done with him, you should stop now and go check them out. Brian Belansky is a hard-working guy. He's from Charlotte, North Carolina. He tours across the United States. Just recently came back from Europe this year. This dude's working hard. Every time I see him, he's always got great stories to tell. He's a great storyteller. He is in the process of making his 4th album as Brian Belansky. Brian's Super Happy Fun Time 4, scheduled to release on September 15, 2024. He's got 3 singles out right now for free, guys, on his website, if I could talk, BrianSuperHappyFunTime.com. That's Brian with a Y. I hope to do an interview with him soon. He's on the road. He's going to be back in my neck of the woods, I believe, in August. So hopefully between now and then I'll have another interview scheduled for him. Keep looking out here on I Love Loose Figures, and you'll have that interview soon. His music's really good, guys. You should definitely check it out. I Want to Go Out With You is probably my new favorite song. Every time I heard it, live, I'm just like, it's so catchy. I just like it. It's good stuff. Check it out. BrianSuperHappyFunTime.com. That's Brian with a Y. Inside Out 2. I didn't think they would actually make an Inside Out 2. But they did. The kiddo has grown up to be a teenager. Gotta have that new emotion. And I like it because, speaking of hockey, she plays hockey. And in the trailer, she's playing hockey again. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. It just dropped June 14, 2024. Go out and see it. Come back and let me know how it was. I'm probably going to wait until it comes out on Disney+. The first movie was okay for me. I like Anger because Lewis Black, come on guys, Lewis Black, guys. One of the greatest comedians of all time, dark humor. And he throws faith in it too, but he's real about it. Good and bad, he's real about it. Anger. But Inside Out 2, now in theaters. Go check it out. Speaking of checking out, my wife and I got back from our coast trip and we hopped on Hulu and saw that there was a brand new documentary called Brats. And it was talking about the Brat Pack. And we're like, okay, let's give this a shot. So we watched it. And that's today's main topic of I Love Loose Figures, the ILLF Show, episode number 5. So, Breakfast Club and the movies that go along with that. I actually didn't realize they had a nickname called the Brat Pack. I knew that they had movies out where they were all together, but I honestly didn't really know that term until I saw this documentary. And the documentary is made by Andrew McCarthy. He's one of the guys in the Brat Pack. And he goes out and tries to talk to some of his fellow Brat Pack brethren to see what their thoughts are 30 years later. Did it hinder their lives? Or is it something they just ignored and moved on with? And I'll leave it up to you guys to watch it on Hulu. But Andrew just seemed like he was kind of butthurt about how it branded them. Like, what happened was Emilio Estevez had an interview, and this guy was talking to him, and he called them the Brat Pack. And it seemed like many of them took offense to that. But I'm thinking, well, in hindsight, you have the Rat Pack, right? So they had nothing else to really go with, this guy, this journalist. So Brat Pack, he was thinking of something to classify these guys as. So he called them the Brat Pack. And he didn't really mean anything by it, but they took it as they're young. They don't have anything else going for them. They're just a bunch of brats. Who was to be called brats, But looking back, many of them were like, okay, I can see why they called us the Brats Pack. We were kind of brats, in a sense. But there's a lot of interesting thoughts that are through this whole documentary. And I think it's funny that driving around in his car, Andrew, he was talking about how my wife told me it was going to bring a lot of humility out of me. It would be good for my humility. And at first, he didn't know what she meant by that. But then he's like, I think I kind of understand what she was talking about now. I think he was opening up the can of worms and then realizing, oh man, maybe I shouldn't open this can of worms. And maybe I should have just let it be. But it's a really cool documentary. He's got a lot of guest appearances. I'm not going to say all of them, but Demi Moore and Emilio Estevez and Rob Lowe, they were on there. He talked to them. To hear their insight 30 years later, it's kind of cool. So, Brats. Check it out on Hulu. It's now streaming. After that movie was over, after the documentary was over, we saw advertisement about the movie called About Last Night. And they mentioned it a little bit in the documentary. My wife and I were like, we never heard of this movie. So we decided to watch About Last Night. Because it was like, man, it's got Jim Belushi. I'm like, well, how can this go wrong? It's Jim freaking Belushi, man. So we watched it. Literally, he was the best part of the entire movie, and he was barely in it. It's about this, just about having a relationship and about growing up and moving out from being from a kid to a young adult. Learn it's an adaptation from a musical or a play or something like that, which made sense because there were a lot of 80s montages in it. There's a lot of them. But then it's based off a musical, so I guess in some regard it makes sense. But just talking about the sexual life of being an adult, growing up, and being around that. There's actual nudity in it too, and Demi Moore is nude in this. It's like, what the heck? Usually it's just the guy. But there was nudity in women too. I was like, okay, 80s, gotta love it, right? Anyway, about last night, one of the craziest movies. We lost an hour and a half, 2 hours of our lives. We could have watched other things. And it was like nothing. It was just like nothing. There was really storyline. You're just like, what's happening? What am I watching? Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to the ILLF Show. We'll be back next episode. If you like today's episode, like, subscribe, make the world go round. Let me know what your favorite topic was today. Let me know what to talk about next here on the ILLF Show. This is Vo. May the Vo be with ya.